My name is Adriano Magliocco. I'm full professor at the Department of Architecture and Design, University of Genova.
Hello to everybody. I'm Maria Canepa from the University of Genova. I am a researcher of the Department of Architecture and Design.
This speech aims to focus on the possible relationships between artistic craftsmanship as a professional activity characterized by strong cultural content and the form of distributed economy and the quality of the anthropic environment. The question arises is, if the anthropic environment generated forms of craftsmanship, can we hypothesize that new artistic handicraft activities can regenerate the degraded anthropic environment? In this historical moment, design seems to embrace two areas that just a few years ago seemed to be separated. Technological innovation in production methods, typical of the globalizing industry, and craftsmanship, typical of the local tradition. The Art Lab Net project, funded by the Interreg Marittimo Italy-France program, aims to train artisans towards the new technologies, to support them to innovation, to identify new collaborations with other professionals. A parallel objective, but not less important, based on the specific case of the historic district of Sanremo called La Pigna, is to stimulate the redevelopment of the anthropized environment in its physical, architectural, economic and social complex. With this point of view, ArtLabNet organizes events and training activities aimed at supporting artistic craftsmen and designers wishing to settle in degraded or at risk of degradation historical building areas, combining new production models and cultural values.
In this part, we are talking about the relationship between craftsmanship and digital making. As early as 1938, Bruno Munari, that was an Italian artist and designer, signed the Manifesto del Macchinismo, or Manifesto of Machinery, which announced a society of machines in which artists would have to abandon canvas, colors, chills, to begin making works of art with machines, knowing the mechanical anatomy of the mechanical language. The assumption that the use of the instrument implies the superiority of the creative phase towards the executive one, or at least the possibility of devoting more time to the design of the object, speeding up or simplifying its realization. The progress of technology over the past few decades has brought production closer to the consumer and beyond. It has opened up new scenarios for the processing of materials and the development of shapes. The main innovation of the new millennium was the introduction of new technologies such as 3D printing, of new creative, productive, distributive and communicative processes determined by the web open source, which are defining new horizons for the artisan object of the future. The product is created with the do-it-yourself approach by the digital artisans with the use of the new 3D modeling technologies, transforming them into creative entrepreneurs, managing directly the entire production processes in a network with many benefits in terms of times, costs, and also managing the distribution directly through e-commerce sites such as Amazon or Etsy. 3D printing is an additive technology which works by adding material and work in reverse to a traditional machine, which starts from a block of metal and digs. 3D printing is based on the opposite principle. Instead of dinking, it adds material working in layers, and the materials that can be used are the most disparate, such as polymers to metals. Then, finishing processes are performed manually, and it is at this stage that the pieces can be customized by hand. Today, in fact, the manufacturing vocation is flanked by technological innovation in craftsmanship and involves various sectors such as fashion, design and art. Anyone with an idea or a good project in mind can send these files to a service that produces the object in small batches or in large quantities, or make it himself with digital manufacturing tools such as 3D printers or laser cutters. In recent years, many Fab Labs were born, which are digital manufacturing laboratories, where hobbies becomes small businesses, starting from the bottom. The figure of the artisan as a homo faber, according to Sennett, who in spite of the economic crisis still resists, somehow needs to relocate in this new scenario. New technologies are resources to experiment and innovate, keeping tradition, hybridizing with new languages. Craftsmen and designers have the ability to work on the network and combine the different skills to provide a high-quality product, able to differentiate itself from what is already offered by the market.
In this part, we're talking about the historical areas, generating and regenerated. Cities have always been the place for opportunities and meetings, both economic and cultural. The ancient city centers have been sources for traditional know-how, and the artisanal objects are, therefore, a direct expression of their history. We can hypothesize that today craft can be an instrument for the redevelopment of the historical centers themselves. Some experiences in Italy seem to support this hypothesis. The symbiotic relationship between territory and craft activities has been assumed, for example, by the association Free Artist Craftsmen Balarm of Palermo. They create a diffuse network of microeconomics for the urban redevelopment of the territory, spreading creative craftsmanship as economic and cultural innovation. In the streets, in schools, training both the youngest and those seeking to make a real alternative. The association declares its intention to create a space of cultural initiative that produces growth of knowledge, to encourage and incentivize art and craft, both among the public and within it. Another initiative comes from Finale Ligure, Noli and Borgio Varezzi, which have joined a territorial marketing project in order to protect and improve the image of the territory, the quality of the hospitality service, and the quality of the natural and urban environment. In order to promote and enhance art and craftsmanship, the Fatto a Mano Finalborgo Association was established. This kind of initiatives often arises during public funding aimed at recovering the most degraded but full of potential portions of the urban territory.
In this part, we are talking about the Art Lab Net project. The partnership of the Art Lab Net project sees artistic craftsmanship as an explanation of the typical areas of the program's cooperation territories. Liguria, Sardinia, Tuscany's coastal part, not involved directly in this project, Corsica, Region PACA, Provence and Côte d'Azur, opened by the Var department. Art and crafts professions, mostly carried out by elderly people, or in any case from extracurricular training, suffering from the substantial difficulty of entering the current market, where the use of the digital tools for communication, such as social media and production, makes it almost impossible to continue their business according to procedures belonging to another time and to another society. Consequence is that even in areas where artistic craftsmanship maintains a strong role with close ties to tradition, despite the appreciation of the public, as it happened in Sardinia, many artisans are disappearing or are unable to transfer their know-how to the next generations. The project wants to combine craftsmen's creative manual skills with contemporary instruments and growth processes in order to increase their capacity, their communication skills, and marketing. Based on a survey of the needs carried out on the project's territories, Training activities by person and virtual, and tutorials were offered, allowing a better understanding of the digital tools useful for the communication and to sell their products. In order to innovate and stimulate production capacities and to attract new generations in a work little known, 4 resources centers were designed and built. In conclusion, a very particular part of the project sees the art and craft as a form of social redevelopment and consequently of building recovery of the old Sanremo district called La Pigna. The neighborhood, founded around 1000 and consolidated until 1500, after the boom of flowers cultivation in Sanremo, has seen a progressive abandonment that left it almost without human and economic resources, but allowed a substantial crystallization so that today we are faced with a historic settlement of Greek charm, still almost singulate. In the district of La Pigna, most of the ground floor are closed and remain unused, with few activities, mainly commercial like bar, restaurant, brocantry and almost none of craft shops. Because of that, the opening of the Textile and Digital Fabrication Resource Center by the Pigna Mon Association aims at training new artisans and bring new small commercial businesses to the neighborhood, essential for the survival of La Pigna and its incredible charm. Basing on the presence in the neighborhood of many unemployed women, some from the North Africa countries, and the willingness of the association members and sympathizers, it was considered more profitable and simple to implement as a first activity of the Resources Center some sewing and tailoring courses. Particular attention was given to the concept of ethical fashion, organizing a seminar day, Fashion Style and Lifestyle. In addition, in relation to the desire to underline the need to keep intact the historical memory of the district from which its charm derives, a short workshop on the restoration of the plaster were organizing, attended by students from the School of Specialization in Architectural and Landscape Heritage. The activities are filmed and videos are produced, testimonies of the development of the project that this spring will end.
If at the end of the project, as prefect, new art and craft artisan will establish in La Pigna, ArtLabNet will demonstrate in a real way how it's possible to revitalize a critic but full of cultural interest neighborhood as La Pigna.
Thank you for your attention and stay tuned on www.artlabnet.com.
Thank you for your attention and follow us on the Facebook page ArtLabNet.